Hey guys, we're going to take a look at Chapter 9 and how we can use technology with students who have special needs in our school. So, first off, let's get a quick overview of special education because I know some of you have not taken that course yet. The book definition that they're going to give us is special education, is specially designed instruction at no cost to parents to meet the unique needs of a child with a disability. Oftentimes, we use the acronym FAPE, Free and Appropriate Public Education, is guaranteed to all students in the United States. Now, 95% of students with disabilities here do attend a regular school. And 64% of that population are actually involved in general education classrooms for the majority of the day. That means that even if you're not a special education teacher, you need to be informed and understand the different special education technologies that are there to help your students in your classroom. So, there are some issues and challenges associated with special education. First of which is what we have called inclusion. And this is where individuals with disabilities are included. And this could be a broad idea, but it gets very specific here. Not only are they included, meaning they're part of, they are also valued. They are active participants in not only society, but in our classrooms. They're not just swept under the rug. These are students that take part and are active in our classrooms, and we value that participation as teachers. We want to see them succeed. Now, there's also variables in implementation of special education technology within different school settings. Sometimes it's due to the person themselves, the individual, the student. Sometimes it's the context or the environment. Sometimes it's the task we're asking them to use or the tool, or the outcome isn't what we hoped for. When we talk about inclusive technologies, these are assistive technologies that can be used in the general education classroom to help all students, whether they have special needs or not. Now, there are some policies that are in place as far as special education. The first is the IDEA Act, Individuals with Disabilities Act, and this is a federal law. And part of the mandate of this law says that IEP teams have to consider appropriate assistive technology devices if necessary and services. Now, this all falls under what's called UDL, Universal Design for Learning. And these are the principles that are actually underlying technology that give all students equal opportunities to learn. UDL's job is to break down those learning barriers. And UDL means that teachers are going to provide multiple means of representation, expression, and engagement. Basically breaks down to the what, why, and how of your learning. And then having web accessibility that students can get on the internet. And this means providing greater access to online information for all users. Now, there is accountability in special education, and this is the educational accountability in special education. ESSA is what's going to give states flexibility in how they're going to assess the achievement of their students with disabilities. There are two requirements when you assess students and how we monitor that progress. The first is that they're given a general assessment with accommodations as needed. So things like read aloud, write in the test book, extended time, small group testing environment. But then there's also an option of an alternate assessment on alternate academic standards. But only 1% of students are actually going to use this in the state. We can't go above that number. Now, there are challenges in special education technology. One of it is teacher knowledge of the technologies that are available. And part of that is because when you are in teacher prep classes, which you guys are, there's a very low emphasis on knowing and understanding these assistive technologies. And this is for the general population teacher. If you were going special education, you'd be much more knowledgeable on this topic. But then you also have an issue of students don't want to use the assistive technology. They abandon them. And then sometimes it's because there's inadequate training for the student and the teacher and the parents and support for those individuals if they run into issues with that technology. So how do we integrate it to meet special needs? Well, assistive technology can happen through an educational referral, and that's made by the IEP team. And what they do is they're going to classify these different solutions. We have the idea of no tech. In other words, you're just going to use your own body a little differently. Then there's things like low tech, which could be personal word lists or organizing systems. And then the high tech, that's the things like the powered wheelchair and computers. But there's also mobile devices that students with disabilities can use, where it's touch screen and it can move with the student, and we can install apps on it as well to help those students. So first off, you've got to select appropriate apps for the students who have disabilities. And they can be apps that are going to teach and reinforce targeted skills, but keep in mind that these skills are things that are going to align with the standards. And then these are things we want the student to be able to navigate on their own, to be able to use this app on their own. There will be help available if they need it, but we want them to be able to do it on their own. And we want settings and contents that we can go in and specify and customize to what the student actually needs. And these apps have got to provide feedback that is correct and timely so that students get the reinforcement you need. And not only that, we need data that's going to come back to the teachers, because ultimately you as a teacher are responsible for monitoring the student's growth. Now, you may have students with mild cognitive disabilities in your class, and using productivity software is great for them. Also, text-to-speech products is going to help them develop reading and literacy skills. Voice recognition, graphic organizers, and talking word processors are going to help them with writing. You can also use specialized calculators for these students to help them with their math skills. If you have moderate to severe disabilities, you want software that's going to teach functional living skills, how to handle time, how to handle money, what you need to do on a day-to-day basis. Also, video self-monitoring is going to increase their functional activities because they can evaluate what they've been doing by looking at that video. You're also going to have augmented reality and virtual reality, and these are great for teaching social skills and daily living and response with people around you. And then also alternate keyboards might be necessary to support that computer use. Now, some of your students may have physical disabilities, and so some of these assistive technologies are going to be on the lower tech side: crutches, walkers, push wheelchairs, but then you're also going to have power wheelchairs that are going to be operated by a joystick and sometimes a mouse. And then accessing computers might be difficult for these students. So you might need alternative keyboards, which could be things like a one-handed keyboard or an extra large keyed keyboard. And it could be things where there's pointers or an alternative mouse or switches that are going to be controlling the computers and the tablets. Sometimes you're going to have students with sensory disabilities. So if you have a student who's blind, sometimes they may be using a cane or that sort of technology. They're going to have screen readers or Braille software. Some students who have partial sight are going to need screen magnification control panels so that they can read what's on the computers. And students, if you have students who are deaf or hearing impaired, closed captioning is going to be a must, as well as FM amplification, which might just be a piece that goes around your neck as a teacher, which picks up your voice and sends it to a headset, in essence, that the student wears over their ears. Then we have students who have gifts and talents, and they, while they don't receive financial aid from the government as far as being recognized through ID and getting the monies associated with it, students who are gifted and talented do fall underneath special education. And they provide from special education because they can be creative and have self-reflection and critical thinking. And when you're working with these students, some apps that are really great: News LEA. This is going to give different articles, and all these articles are going to be on different reading levels. So you can have students matched to their ability. Accelerated Math for personal math instructions so they can move more quickly. And another app called No Red Ink. And this is going to be personalized writing instruction to help move them along. Now, the great thing about technology with these students is it supports critical thinking. They can build individual products and even code computer programs. They can write their own blogs, create their own wikis, create video conferencing to get to their mentors. And it is a way for them to tap into those gifts and talents and allow them to succeed in your class.